What's up, guys? It's me, the AOLE Double X Prince. I've give you my top 100 matches of the year. Might as well give you some movies that I decided to do. I was just bored and I decided to do. Why don't I do the top 25 movies of 2017? Plus, just recently I just saw a whole bunch of movies. Just finished watching some I already own online, on Amazon. So why don't I give you my top 25 movies of the year. For the most part, we've mainly had a lot of hidden gems this year that are considered classics. I haven't seen every movie of the year. Like I haven't seen Wind River and shit like that. So just letting you guys know just kind of like what kind of list you're getting. And some of these movies I actually got a chance to see in theaters yesterday. I saw like two of these movies yesterday. So it's might as well just time to catch up with these movies. Some honorable mentions. The Greatest Showman. I talked about this in my Q&A. Which, by the way, I recommend you guys check out my Q&A and my rebooking of 2017 of WWE. So you can check those out. But yeah, Greatest Showman is a movie I talked about in my Q&A that I just saw recently with Hugh Jackman. It was a really fun movie. Fate of the Furious, a lot of people hate that franchise now because Paul Walker's gone, which I understand. But Fate of the Furious wasn't that bad. I actually enjoyed it for the most part. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 didn't make it in my top 25. Shocking to me because that was a really good movie and I had a lot of fun with it. Atomic Blonde is a movie that people said sucked, and then I watched it. I was like, hell no, this is a great fucking movie. I don't know what the hell people were talking about when they said this movie fucking sucked. This was a great movie, and I enjoyed it. Charlize Theron is the best. And the last honorable mention I have is It Comes at Night. Really, really good movie. That ending was kind of a mixed bag, but for the most part, I had a great time watching that movie. Let's just kick it on with my number 25. Coming in at number 25 for me is A Ghost Story. Basically a story about a young couple that got separated by a shocking loss, and then it's a weird movie. You kind of like see this person kind of like harassing them, and then they basically it's a ghost story. Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara, their names are K and M, which was like a really interesting movie. And I don't know, it's just like those movies that you have to watch to understand what the hell I'm talking about, because it's hard for me myself to explain it. And A Ghost Story is definitely one of those movies that you have to go check out on your own. At number 24, John Wick Chapter 2. John Wick has been on one of the best franchises going right now. This is not the best one, obviously. The first one was a lot better. Can't wait for Chapter 3 though. But Keanu Reeves has been on a roll with these films, and this is a good follow up to it. Not great, but a pretty good one to say the least. Pretty simple story, but I can't wait. I definitely can't wait for the third one. And honestly, what the third one looks like to be is what I wanted this one to be. But I'm still glad with what I got. It's John Wick kicking ass. Keanu Reeves is still the best, and he's just been amazing. It came out like early February, and oddly enough, the same movie that I'm about to talk about, number 23, came out on the same day. But number 23 is the Lego Batman movie. For a while, this was the best animated movie of the year, until something beat it, which we'll get to. Batman, basically, it took like a parody of everything that we hate about Batman, everything we love about Batman, and basically telling like a little innocent story. And it's a really, really good movie. I was shocked how great it was and how much fun I had. Every time you find a lot of Easter eggs, and everything is just a lot of fun. Just go out of your way and watch it. You don't even have to be a comic book fan. If you're into like just funny, enjoyable stuff, maybe you'll get a kick out of it. I don't know, but this is a lot better than most of the DCEU movies, which is kind of sad now that I think about it. So yeah, Lego Batman movie. At number 22, we have Split, The Return of M. Night Shyamalan. James McAvoy blew this movie out of the park, basically kidnapping a bunch of teenage girls, and the girls had to team up to kind of mess with him to get them out, and eventually this is going to lead to a sequel for Unbreakable. Apparently this is a whole trilogy that's been working on for a while. It was brilliant that they've done that. It was just a really good movie and really interesting movie that makes you think. And honestly, 2017 was probably the year that you have to think about what you're watching. Most of my favorite movies this year I had to think about. Even my number one movie was like a crazy like a thinking movie. But yeah, this was a good movie. James McAvoy blew it out of the park. And I can't wait for his next project. And from what I hear, forget the name of the girl, but they're gonna be in the New Mutants now. So can't wait to see where that goes. Especially now that it's kind of weird that Fox is taking over. But what is it? Anya Taylor-Joy. She's been on a roll with The Witch, and now this, and hopefully she's good in the New Mutants. At number 21, a movie I haven't talked about in a while. Actually, a movie I've never really even talked about. The movie is called Good Time. It's one of those movies that you never would expect to happen ever. So let me just tell you like a little bit of the plot. So Robert Pattinson, aka from Twilight, he's back and he finally does a good movie, and it's the Safdie brothers. I've never heard about these guys, but until now. And this movie just blew me away. It's basically it's a crime drama movie, and it has Robert Pattinson's character having a really dyslexic brother, played by Benny Safdie, and basically they were robbing banks, and it was just a movie that basically said, you know what, let's just try something new. Let's move stuff around for once and try to be different. No one will ever tell you this was no one's ever done this. No one, I don't think, ever done a crime drama like this. So Good Time is definitely one of those movies that I highly recommend you guys to check out. And most of these movies is probably movies you guys haven't even heard of. Because at number 20 is Logan Lucky, a movie I actually forgot I watched. But Logan Lucky has been a movie that I was like, I don't know if I should watch it, but I watched it and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good. And then finding out that Steven Soderbergh, the director of Ocean's 11, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be great. Basically, it's a crazy man named Jimmy Logan is just on his role, like kind of like stealing money. It felt different and it felt original, and you had a pretty stellar cast. Riley Keough, Seth MacFarlane, Adam Driver, Channing Tatum, and Daniel Craig. Those are some of the weirdest pairings you've ever seen, but this movie worked in all of its levels, and I really enjoyed it. At number 19 is actually a movie I saw yesterday, Call Me By Your Name. A really sad movie. This is basically Brokeback Mountain for the modern times. Basically, two men who love each other, and they can't have love because of the situations, and it's honestly a very important movie to watch. And honestly, I kind of wish I had it higher, but there was so many good movies this year. I mean, this is number 19. That's saying a lot. And it was just like a beautifully well done movie with real characters, and you kind of felt sympathy for everybody in this movie, except for, of course, like the baddies. But this was just a really good, well thought out movie that I've never seen people willing to take this much risk with this movie. I mean, I've seen Brokeback Mountain, but not to the extent of this. Granted, Brokeback Mountain is a much better movie than this one, but it's still a really good movie to watch, and it's a very interesting one to say nonetheless. At number 18, we got a movie that people forgot about. People saw it in the summer. A lot of people saw it in the summer, but no one seems to talk about this movie anymore. And that is Detroit. Detroit, basically taking a real life situation in Detroit of like, how crimes happen, and it was a crazy intense movie. You get to see how, certain people live. You see the bullshit that people have to deal with, and it's a really hard movie to watch, and I guess that's why a lot of people don't like it. And I understand, but I thought this was a well done, well put together movie from Catherine Bigelow. And it's honestly one of those I don't say it's not a movie you will rewatch over and over again, but it's definitely a movie you should check out and just witness what the hell you're watching. Like, holy shit, you just have to like see what the hell happens these days, and it's a really crazy movie, and I was blown away with what I saw, and it could be a good reason and a bad reason at once. I've never felt this in a movie, so that's my number 18. At number 17, Stephen King's Gerald's Game. I didn't think I was gonna put this movie up there because it's technically a Netflix movie. Um, but I mean, a lot of people talk about this all the time, and I was terrified watching this movie. About a woman accidentally killing her husband during a game, and you know now there's no hope for the rescue. It was just it kind of reminded me of Hush, which also is a Netflix movie, but you know a girl's deaf, but there's like a killer in the loose, and it's a really fucking trippy ass movie. This whole time this girl is handcuffed and she's trying to get out of it, and I really enjoyed it. Stephen King knows how to write. Obviously, Stephen King didn't direct this, but director is Mike Flanagan. So another great name in Hollywood right now. Who's actually he did Hush. Now that I think about it, which actually makes sense since this movie is just as intense as this, and it's honestly one of the best movies I've seen all year, and definitely showing the best. I know. Being this being the year of Stephen King, another movie hit next, and coming in at number 16 is It. I was never a big fan of It growing up. Everybody loved it. I wasn't a big fan of it, but this movie is definitely what got me into it. So, thanks to It, now this movie I'm into like reading into thrillers and horror, because horror is not really my genre. It never was, but this is definitely a fun movie. It kind of took the Stranger Things aspect, which is funny because Finn Wolfhard is in this movie, who plays Mike on Stranger Things. Bill Skarsgård, honestly the best best Pennywise, and it was just a crazy scary movie. Pennywise definitely will fuck with you, and Bill Skarsgård did a phenomenal job playing him. I can't wait for part 2. Honestly, part 2 has a better chance of being in the top 10 over this one, because this one is just setting up the characters. This is, I know they're gonna grow up and be older, and you know we're gonna see different changes in the story, so that's gonna be great. Now let's move on to the top 15. This was a great year for superhero movies. I'm not gonna lie. Even though Guardians didn't make it in the list, but this was definitely one of the better ones. At number 15, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Not as great as Spider-Man 2 or even the original origin story of Spider-Man, but this is still a great movie. Michael Keaton as the Vulture. I couldn't have cast something better than that. Definitely Spider-Man. This is a new kind of Spider-Man. Finally, we're getting the teenage Spider-Man, as well as we're adding new characters involved. Like Michelle's actually MJ. You know, I know we live in a society where we have to bring in every race into the story, and it does get irritating at first. But knowing how they're trying to modern all of this stuff, like you know, we have Ned as a Asian guy, Zendaya as a black woman. So you know, we're taking different races and bringing them to the table, and overall, this movie did a great job introducing Spider-Man, showing that he could do stuff on his own. I can't wait to see how this plays off in the second movie, considering it's gonna happen, I believe, right after the second half of Infinity War. So that's definitely one of those movies that you have to check out. Now, number 14 is a movie I was skeptical putting in the list because I love this director a lot, but his movies are hard to watch sometimes just because they're too fucking long and they make you think a lot. But this movie, the more I thought about it, the better it got. And number 14 for me is The Shape of Water. Guillermo del Toro brought it back again. You know, he's done some of my favorite movies of all time, Pan's Labyrinth, and the Hellboy movies, Blade 2. And there's a theory that this is connected to Hellboy, so that just makes me happy. You have just great characters and a great love story, a better Beauty and the Beast movie than Beauty and the Beast this year, personally, because that movie was garbage. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. This is a much better adaptation about it, I should say, and it was enjoyable. It was a great, entertaining movie. It was slow. It is kind of dull and boring at some points, but the more you think about it, in your head, the more you're saying to yourself, yeah, this is a great movie. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. So there was that. Now this next movie I didn't like at first, but um, now that I think about it, it's a really good movie, and honestly one of the best superhero movies in a while. Thor Ragnarok makes it at number 13. Yes, this was so much fun. I know a lot of people hated that this movie wasn't serious, but I thought it was great, making it a comedy. Maybe the comedy was too much, but Taika Waititi is definitely known for comedy. He's done Hunt for the Wilder People, and what was the name of that other movie he did? What We Do in the Shadows. So he's very popular for doing a lot of comedies, and he basically brought Thor into the comedy, and this is a fun ass movie. You have basically this movie played off like a small indie movie, but it was just great. It basically took everything we hated out of Thor and made it better. So that was great. They just said screw it, let's just do whatever the fuck we want, and this was a lot of fun to watch. Now number 12 is a movie that has gotten a lot of controversy recently, considering people are saying it's a SJW film, which honestly, shut the fuck up if you're one of those guys. It has its problems, but overall, it's one of those amazing movies that I can't believe it even made it this high. But number 12 for me is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Yeah, it didn't quite make my top 10, and I don't know why, but this was a good movie. I didn't care what the critics said, and I thought this was just an overall an amazing time in the theater. Continuing the story. Some stuff was debatable, but I'm hoping J.J. Abrams brings better stuff at Episode 9. So I definitely can't wait to see where that goes. And then hopefully it fixes this movie. It's still a phenomenal movie to watch. I don't care what anybody says. It's still one of the better Star Wars movies, and it definitely gets you excited no matter what happens. Some stuff is debatable, but some stuff is still a lot of fun. And it's... Sorry about that, my computer just died, but I just got it charging. But at number 11, again, 12, Star Wars Last Jedi, great. But number 11 is a movie that I really wanted in my top 10 list, but it didn't quite make it. Number 11 for me is Dunkirk. A lot of people are fucking hating this movie, but if you actually do your research for Dunkirk and the battle, and you still criticize this movie, you're a fucking moron. I just can't put it any easier way. And I'm not saying you have to like this movie, because I get the idea of like, that maybe there wasn't any character development. Everybody has their own opinion. But this was a movie that it basically took everything we just want out of a war film. The war itself. It started and ended with the Dunkirk war. It was just a great movie. Yeah, the characters weren't there, but I enjoyed every second of it. Just a battle. That's basically all I wanted out of a war film. I kind of do get tired of the whole, let's get to know the characters, then we go to war, then we come back to our families. I've seen that already. I've seen that movie multiple times. Saving Private Ryan, The Hurt Locker, American Sniper. Let's do something different. So we got Dunkirk, and it was an amazing movie, and honestly one of the best war films out there. Christopher Nolan's definitely still got it. He disappointed us with Interstellar. A lot of people didn't like Dark Knight Rises. I'm not one of those people. And yeah, this is one of his masterpieces. It's definitely gonna go up there as one of the best for his legacy. But now we move on to the top 10 movies of this year, 2017. Kicking it off at number 10, Get Out. This was a great year of horror flicks, and this is definitely my favorite one. Get Out was a pretty weird movie. At first, I thought it was just gonna be a comedy from Keegan-Michael Key. Not Keegan-Michael Key. Jordan Peele. My bad. But this is more than that. Daniel Kaluuya made a name for himself. You have a lot of pretty decent like B-level stars, but these B-level stars pushed this movie to be one of the classics of all time, and definitely gonna put Jordan Peele on the market. I cannot wait for his next project. It took the mystery thriller, plus it took racism and took a different story out of it, and it was honestly something impossible to do. It's a really really good movie, and it's gonna go down there as one of the greats. As far honestly, if Jordan Peele does do more stuff, I can't wait because this guy knows what he's doing. He knows what draws attention, what we haven't seen. We give a lot of shit to comedic directors, but they definitely know what the fuck they're doing. And Jordan Peele is definitely one of those guys. At number 9, a lot of people love this movie. I don't see it in a lot of top 10s, but I'm shocked. But number 9 for me is Wonder Woman. Everybody's enjoying the hell out of this movie. Patty Jenkins is back since Monster, and this was an amazing movie. Honestly, easily the best DCEU movie. Honestly, if Patty Jenkins takes over the DCEU, I'm totally fine with this because this proved it. She basically took a prequel and showed you why Wonder Woman was awesome. People already loved her a little bit in BVS, but this is her origin story, how she knew about her powers and stuff. Say what you will about the villains, they were whatever, but this was just a great movie, and it definitely gave women power. And finally, we have a movie where it's a female driven movie, and we as guys don't have to judge ourselves for being like, oh, this is just a women's movie. No, this is a movie for everybody with a woman lead, and that's what honestly should happen. Stop making everything so fucking political, people. So, yes, Wonder Woman, my number 9. At number 8 is another women-driven movie, Lady Bird. This is what I'm living with right now. Lady Bird is what showed me. It's a little bit slow, so this is why it didn't make it as high. But Lady Bird was an awesome movie. Basically talking about a young girl studying college. She calls herself Lady Bird. It's basically the perks of being a wallflower, but a different way of telling that story. And it's one of the best movies this year. It's my number 8, so that's saying a lot. And you just had great character development. You learn about what it's like to grow up in a in a religious home, at the same time trying to be your own person, and it was a great movie, and I highly recommend you to do it. Plus, it's kind of cool about a girl calling herself Lady Bird, kind of like someone calling himself the Double X Prince. I'm just saying. Yeah, this is a really amazing movie. At number 7. I have a movie that no one seems to be talking about anymore. A lot of people loved it, but not a lot of people are talking about it. But number 7 for me is The Big Sick. The true life story of Camille and his buddy, his wife now. I forgot her name. Hold on, let me just get my notes ready. So yeah, Emily and Camille, basically, they wrote the movie talking about their real life story of how they met, two different sides of family, And one line always got my attention when Camille tells his mom, if we came to America, why do we still act like we live in India or act like we live there? So why can't we live the American dream? Why did we even come to America? It was just a great scene. And it just shows you what people do for love. And, people kept saying that this is going to be a comedy. And I guess it threw people off because this is more than just a comedy. It's a real life story. They have some jokes, but it's basically real life conversations since this is a true story. And for me, it's one of the best comedies I've ever seen in my life. If we get comedies like this, I'm totally down for it. Camille and Zoe Kazan definitely had great chemistry, and it was just a great movie overall. I just had a great time watching it. And then At number 6 is a movie I desperately wanted in my top 5, but it didn't make it. Coming in at number 6 for me is Logan. Yes, Wolverine, final movie. He blew it out of the park. It was a sad movie, never before done. Western comic book movie. Everybody in this movie was just great. We have a beaten down Professor X played by Patrick Stewart. Again, Logan's just waiting to die, even though he can't die until the certain things happen. A story, of saving this girl X-23 by government. It was just a good movie overall, and I just had a great time watching it. One of the best movies this year, and honestly, the best comic book movie this year. But now let's move on to the top 5. Yes, the top 5 movies. Kicking it off at number 5 was originally my number 1, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized no. And by the way, all these next movies are 10 out of 10, A+ movies, the best of the year. The top 5 are the best for me. Number 5 for me is Baby Driver. By the glasses and when I have headphones, you kind of tell why the fuck I like this movie a lot. It's action-packed, it's funny, it has a great soundtrack, it just has good characters. Even the bad characters, they're like the evil characters, they're fucking likable as shit. Jamie Foxx was funny. That scene where he talks to the guy who plays Suge Knight, like, have we met before? I don't know, are you alive? Yeah, then I guess we haven't met. That was one of my favorite lines. It was funny. The chemistry with Buddy and Darling was great. Deborah, you could say what you want about Lily James, but she did a great job. And then say what you will about the controversy about this guy, but Kevin Spacey blew it out of the park as well. It was just overall a great movie, and I had a great time with it. The funnest movie maybe this year, best summer movie to say the least. So yes, Baby Driver, Edgar Wright's next big project. Next to freaking Shaun of the Dead, Hoffa's, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and of course The World's End. This is his 5th movie. I can't wait for his next project. Yay. At number 4 is a movie that I was not going to make this list until I saw this movie. I saw it yesterday, and I was so glad to see The Disaster Artist. This was an amazing movie. Top to bottom, it was funny. It was great. Everything about it was just an amazing time. James Franco definitely blew it out of the park. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, but he definitely deserves an Oscar. How crazy would it be if he does win it? He basically, takes the story. It's basically everything behind the room. The greatest, worst movie of all time. It's been a great experience. I didn't feel like Dave Franco was gonna be that great, but this is easily his best performance ever, and it just took the real life story of the making of The Room, and which was great. Not everything was shown, which is hard to do with movies, but for what we got, I was happy with everything we got out of this movie. Then at number 3 was a movie that really connected with me, and I was shocked how connected I was to this movie, considering it's a kids movie, and also you can't deny that Pixar can't do wrong. Number 3 for me is Coco. This was a beautifully well done movie. It's very relatable to me, considering my love for music and how much I want to be something big with music. But then you realize the real life stuff, and this is why it's scary, to get into the music business. But you also get to realize what's important with family, and it was just like a beautifully well thought out movie. Pixar can't do wrong these days. Besides Cars, of course, but this was, honestly, I didn't think it was gonna be that great. It was a beautifully well done movie, and yes, for once, it shows that Pixar cares to try to do everything possible to rip your heart out and make you cry and make you love and realize what's good and right. And Coco is definitely gonna go down as one of the best Pixar movies ever, and maybe one of the best animated movies of all time. It was that damn good, and I really enjoyed it. These next 2 films, I debated over which one goes over one, and then I realized which one would I consider one of the greatest movies of all time. But for me, my number 2 is War for the Planet of the Apes. the culmination of the easily the best trilogy in the modern times. Better, yes, it's gonna go up there as one of the best trilogies of all time with Rise, Dawn, and now War. You know, say what you will about the title, but this was still a fun movie, and I had a great time with it. Caesar's tragic death in this movie was so touching. You know, even though Woody Harrelson might never get an Oscar, this is definitely gonna go down like, yeah, people definitely need to start, you know, paying attention to these movies. And I had a great time with this movie. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know why the fuck people hate shit. I mean, fuck, you can never please anybody, but whatever. This is my opinion. You can always have your opinion, but War for the Planet of the Apes was an amazing movie. It's almost my number one. It didn't win, but this is definitely great. And the fact that this guy, Matt Reeves, is directing Batman, if you take these movies and put them with Batman, I was like, hell yeah, we're gonna have a blast with these next set of movies. So I can't wait to see Matt Reeves' next work, and hopefully this is the end, because I really want this to stick as a trilogy, because I mean, Caesar died, what the hell else could you do? So it was just a great movie. However, my favorite movie of the year, and a movie that I have to watch twice to say, yeah, this is the best movie of the year, and hell, this is going to go down as one of the greatest movies of all time. My number one is Blade Runner 2049. This was just a different type of story. It knew that it was a sequel, but it knew what not to do. You know, a lot of sequels this year just became worse than its original movie, like Kingsman: The Golden Circle. What's the name of that movie? 50 Shades Darker, whatever it's called. But this movie is far superior than those. It does make you think of stuff. You know, you have a Blade Runner played by Ryan Gosling trying to find a secret about himself, but it definitely has a bunch of twists. And honestly, this movie just, I didn't care what was going on. I just watched it and said to myself, yep, this is how you do a movie. This is how you do a movie like this. Denis Villeneuve is going to go down as one of the greatest directors of all time, and this movie proved it. You have a stellar cast here. I mean, Jared Leto, Ana de Armas, Robin Wright, Batista in the beginning. I was just blown away from second to second. I could not miss a second. People say this movie was way too long. I think it was perfectly paced, and it's gonna go down as one of the greatest movies of all time. I think this holds up there with the original Blade Runner, and it's something that movies like these don't do it anymore. You know, rarely do we have an Empire Strikes Back, a Godfather 2, other classics movies, you know, other classic sequels. And this is gonna go down as one of those that could surpass the original. It didn't for me, just because of how nostalgia I feel for the first Blade Runner, but this is just an incredibly well done movie, and I gotta give praise for Denis Villeneuve that he knew what worked and he knew what didn't work, and this is just great. And I like that they twist. You know, maybe there could be a third movie, and it's one of those, like, if we have a third movie, great. If we end it here, great, because Blade Runner is definitely something that, you know, people didn't know what they thought about the first time viewing it, but this is a great movie, just showing you stuff from the future to the past, and it's my favorite movie of the year. Blade Runner 2049 all the way. That is it for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this list. What are some of your favorite movies of the year? Comment below what are your favorites. Yeah, those are my top 10. I'll leave a link down below to my website so you can see which movies are there. Yeah, that'll be it. It's me, the ALE Prince. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Check out my Q&A and my rebooking of WWE 2017. I know they're long videos, but I'm pretty sure you guys will have a kick out of them. Yeah, until then, I'm out. See you guys later.